Hello and welcome to June's Chapcast 2026, baby. How's it going, people? You good? Okay, so I've been doing little videos just chatting about how I've done things with the bands that I've been in over the years, and I was speaking to someone and they was asking me how, like, what is the best way to record a demo, like a 3-song demo or whatever, that you can show promoters and stuff, because that's the first thing promoters going to say when you when you ask them for a gig. They're going to say, have you got any material that I can listen to and check you out? So I'm just going to tell you some of the ways that I went about getting gigs with all my bands from the beginning to now. Okay, so the first band I was in was called The Voice, and we had already started doing gigs, I think, but that was just down to my mum badgering people and saying they're good. Like the Bull and Gate and that, used to play down there without even showing them nothing, you know what I mean? But times have changed, and promoters need to know that you are going to make them some money. And so basically, the first demo that we had was a song that me and the rhythm guitarist Amon Amazande wrote together, and it was called No One Knows Him. And we was like, obviously wanting to do this song together, you know what I mean, well, with the band or whatever. We just wanted to record it. And at the time I had a girlfriend called Lauren, and her dad was like a music producer, musician, the lot. His name's Mick, and he's a top fella. So's all of her family, they're all lovely. Her brother Josh and her mum Claire, lovely people. But yeah, so amazingly Mick said, all right, let's do this. But he was sort of like, but I can't really record drums, and do you know what I mean? So sadly, Matty got replaced with some sort of drummer app or whatever it was back in those days, some sort of software anyway, and saying, I suppose he played the beat on his keyboard or whatever, and it was some sort of plugin that went onto his keyboard. Yeah, so basically, and he put some strings onto that first recording, as well as we played the bass as well, actually, because our bass player was not the most reliable person in the world, so better off just to let Mick deal with the bass. And then it was me, Amon and Josh. So at the time, Dave Grunberg ran in the band, and Matty wanted to, he was probably there watching, but he couldn't play drums because it is hard to record drums if you ain't, do you know what I mean? And Jamie, he would have been very new to the band then, and I don't know, but it just would have been too much hard work to get him to come as well. So I was around at Lauren's anyway, and Josh and Amon came round with me, and then we sat down with Mick and told him what we wanted to do, and he said okay. So basically got Amon to lay down a rhythm track to the song, and then he put little bits and little silly drums or whatever behind it, just to whatever. And then Josh played his lead guitar part over the top, got that down, and then I did my vocal, got that down, and then obviously Amon was meant to be the backing vocalist of The Voice, but that particular day he had a stinking bad throat and he just couldn't couldn't lay it down that day. So Lauren and her friend Claire were in Lauren's bedroom. So we went and said to them, do you want to have a go at doing some oohs for us? During the choruses of No One Knows Him. And they was like, yeah, let's do it. So we got them into the makeshift studio that was inside Mick's bedroom, and Claire and Lauren put down the backing vocal to No One Knows Him. So I don't know if anybody knows that, but you do now. So go and find that recording. I've got it on one of my releases of an album called Double Double, and it's on that album. So have a listen to it and you can hear Lauren and Claire doing backing vocals. So I mean, that was our first demo, and then like you go on and then I think I've spoke about the demo we recorded at a studio called Bonafide Studios that is in Curtin Road, and basically went down the first day, laid down the drums and sort of a little bit of a backing track or whatever, and then went to the pub that night, had a massive argument, and then I was working at a place called Powerprint, and there was a guy called Mark D that used to work there, and I was telling him, because we had 2 weekends booked and the first weekend was gone, and then the second weekend, and I was telling him what had happened, and he just came out with, well, I don't know, I play the guitar, lead, rhythm and bass, and I'll even put some keys on it, or get my girlfriend down to lay some keys down on it. And anyway, we got in the studio, laid it down, and that is a 4-track demo that has got mainly my songs on it. It's got 4 songs, which is my songs It's Free, Resurrection and On My Mind, and then there's a 4th song that I wrote again with Amon called Coming Down, and basically those 4 songs, and we threw the No One Knows Him with it. So that was the demo that was used. But yes, not everyone's got a girlfriend who's got a dad that's a music producer, so doing that is not going to be on everybody's doorstep, is it? You know what I mean? Like, I was lucky in that case. And then the studio, my dad paid for the 4 days in the studio, and like, I don't know, it's like £150 a day, you know what I mean? So you're looking at £600 to do a 4-song demo. I mean, by all means, check every studio where you live, whatever's close enough to get to, check out all their prices. You'll probably find somewhere that's cheaper than £150 a day. But yeah, that's what we did. And then over the years, I've been back to Bonafide when they was in Curtin Road, and I've been to quite a few different studios and stuff, and I've got a little studio in my bed. Well, it's called Chapman Studios, and it was a bedroom in my mum's house. It's now a studio. But yeah, so I mean, I've got means to record, if you know what I mean, and not a lot of people have. But if you're in a new band or whatever, and you've got a smartphone, I use Apple stuff because I'm lifted blind. I just find all of Apple's products in my studio, you know what I mean? Studio Display and the Mac Studio, great partnership. And then obviously iPads, and the phone that I particularly use is an iPhone. And I'll tell you what, right? I record every rehearsal that we have, just so we can have a listen back to what we've been doing and this and that, whatever. And if you can get, so you can just get a nice live track played out, you know what I mean? You don't have to be like on the grid, if you like, you know what I mean? Like a bit more natural just to play and record what you're playing, you know what I mean? But the iPhone, what is the only one that I can comment on, because it's like the only phone I've had since iPhones came out, whenever that was, about 15 years ago or whatever. and you go to the voice memos app on the iPhone, and you just hit the big red button, record. Just stick it on top of, I just put it on top of my guitar amp in the studio, sort of facing into the studio, you know what I mean, like, and record. And I'll tell you what, like, some of the recordings are really good, like, do you know what I mean, like, as long as you get the levels right with everyone and you can hear the vocals and all that sort of palaver, yeah, it's top stuff, you know what I mean, like, so really you don't have to go to a studio and spend all that money, you know what I mean, like, if you've got an iPhone, well, I'm talking about iPhones because that's what I use, but I'm sure Samsung's and every smartphone out now, it probably has a half decent voice memo app on there that you can record with, you know what I mean, like, so, and you can just try place your phone different places around the room, you know what I mean, like, if you think it's 2 drums heavy, then move it away from the drums. If it's 2 drums light, go towards the drums, you know what I mean. If the vocal ain't quite having it, point it at the PA system speakers, you know what I mean, like, and you get good results, you know what I mean. And if you have a computer at home, maybe, or like with a DAW on your computer, like Logic or Reaper or any of them, Pro Tools, Cubase, whatever, the Ableton, there's so many out there, you know what I mean, Studio One, I don't know, loads of different ones, but again, you can sort of import that track into your DAW and just see what you can do with it, you know what I mean. Different like most DAWs have got their own free plugins that come with the actual software, you know what I mean, like, so you don't have to go out and buy like Waves stuff or whatever, you know what I mean. You can if you want, like, you get some great apps, I mean great plugins from Waves, like I've got a lot of their stuff, and yes I love Waves. But yeah, so I mean it is easy as that. I mean, obviously if you're like caked and you got loads of dough and all that, then book yourself a nice little studio, you know what I mean. You're going to get a great result out of any studio. Well, obviously do your homework and check places out, because obviously places ain't always up to what they say they're up to, are they, you know what I mean. But yeah, so that's like being lucky enough to have someone to record our first demo with us, and then lucky enough to get given some money to go into the studio secondly, you know what I mean. That's great, but I mean, some people, you haven't got the money, you know what I mean, like, and so there's nothing saying stop, you know what I mean. Go for it, do it. You know what I'm saying, like, so don't just look at what's around you, you know what I mean. What can you use that's around you? Where can you go? Have you got a local rehearsal room? Can you afford to book that out for 3 hours, you know what I mean, like, if not, have you got somewhere in your ass that you could sort of annoy your mum for the day, do you know what I mean, like, get a little drum kit in there, and like just place your iPhone in that room, you know what I mean. I know it's only one microphone. If you want to get a bit more technical, you can always go out and buy yourself a 4-track. I used to have a Tascam 4-track recorded onto tapes. It was amazing little thing. Used to just stick a couple of mics on it and place them around the room, and then you do get a slightly better result or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot you can do, you know what I mean. So don't ever just give up and think, oh god, I can't do that, how am I going to do that, I can't afford to get to Abbey Road, you know what I mean, studios, GAC. Yes, but I mean, yeah, and as I say, you can get some great results, because I record every rehearsal we have and go through them afterwards, and I myself import it into Logic, split the tracks up in Logic and that, and couple of little cheeky plugins here and there, and then just like bounce it down, and then you've got a WAV file there, and then, do you know what I mean, like, do what you want with a WAV file, can't you? You know what I mean? Send it round to the rest of the band, see what they think. But that's a way of getting a demo, you know what I mean? And when it's in this WAV format or whatever, you can send that on to to promoters, and say, this is what we sound like, and then they'll be like, perfect, next Tuesday got a band called the Slumdog Millionaires and they need some support, and you lot sound perfect, you know what I mean? And then that's just perfectly how it goes. You can also load your music up to a SoundCloud account, and then, do you know what I mean, it's probably easier to do that. So just start a SoundCloud account, get 3, 4, 5 tunes on there, do you know what I mean, like, and then you can call up or email a promoter and say, we'd really like to play at your venue. And say, okay, so what you're saying, what you're sounding like, and you say, I'm just gonna email you over a link to our SoundCloud account, and you can have a listen to what we're about. Boom. And then they let them have a listen, they get back to you, oh, yeah, you lot are pretty good, yeah, where you from? Yeah, okay, how old are you? Nice, alright, yeah, sweet. Let's pencil you in, yeah, for a first up spot at the Dublin Castle. And get all your pals to go down there, you know what I mean? It is quite hard these days to, do you know what I mean? Like, me and my band were sort of becoming old men. You know what I mean? Never took off too much, but yeah, we're amazing. We're great. So yeah, check us out. Facebook.com/thefilthygroove. Take you straight to our page, and from there you can get to everything else. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, don't be frightened if you haven't got a demo, do you know what I mean? Like, don't think, oh God, man, just look around at what you've got around you, what money you've got in the bank, you know what I mean, what's what, and then from there you can judge what to do, you know what I mean? What you could even do, if like you got 3 or 4 of you in a band and you've all got a smartphone, do you know what I mean? Just place the phones around the room, the 4 phones, start on recording, give it a clap, and then straight into your first song, you know what I mean? Finish that song, wait a couple of seconds, give it a clap, do your second song, keep on like that, you know what I mean, throughout. The phone's usually, well, depending on what memory you got and all that, but I'm sure you'll get a few tracks down with whatever memory you got. And yeah, I mean, if your phones can record for hours like mine, then just record the whole rehearsal and just keep going over all the tracks as much as you can. And when you've got like 35 songs, that's it. Take them home, stick them on DAW if you can, and split them up or whatever, and just say, oh, that one is no good, delete. That one is, it's okay, but delete. Oh, again, that one's not that great, delete. Perfect, that one is having it, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? Bounce that one down, a few little plugins wrapped around its neck, and then that's the first song, and carry on throughout. And I'm sure you'll come across at least 3 songs that are good, you know what I mean? Start a SoundCloud account. I can't tell you exactly how to do it, but just go to www.soundcloud.com, and I'm sure it's very self-explanatory from when you get on the computer and you look at the screen. And I'm sure that one of you out of the 3, 4, 5 that are in the band has got to have a computer in their ass, you know what I mean? If you ain't, I'm sure you could do it at school, college, uni, whatever, wherever I'm sure you could go down the post office actually and use their computer and do it that way. Sorry, not the post office, what am I talking about? I meant the library. Library, sorry. You could go down the library and use their computer. Well, probably can use the post office too, but there you go. No, but I mean, yeah, that's all there is to it basically. Just got to get a demo done, and then that helps go with the other video I've got about getting gigs. That probably don't tell you how to record a demo, but it tells you that you need a demo to get a gig. But as I say, depending on where you are, what you've got, what you saying, do you know what I mean, is where you're gonna start with your recordings, you know what I mean? Like, so I mean, I used to back in the day, like, do you know what I mean, like my little Tascam plugged in, all mics coming out of it and all that in my bedroom, and then I'd like call up whoever was playing guitar in the band. Phil Kerrigan. Phil, hello mate, what's happening? Wanna come to my house and write a song called No People No More? Yeah, alright, see you soon. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's good enough. You know what I mean? Like, it's good enough. And then in the future, if anything comes of your music, you know what I mean, that's when you say, I want to go into Abbey Road and re-record what we did in whoever's bedroom 3 years ago. No, but yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's sweet as a nut. No, okay, well, thanks for listening and that, and I hope you got something out of this little sort of speech video, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so please, do you know what I mean? There's always a solution, so just do it, man. And music is great, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's music is great. It's all different, and different people get into different genres and that. But all music is great, and it's great for the soul. So all of you, especially you young ones, get in your bedrooms and get what you got. You know what I mean? Go downstairs and borrow your dad's iPhone. Voice memos. Let's have it. But yeah, nice one. All right, yeah, thanks for listening and that. Please like, subscribe, and smash bells. And yes, this is June 2026. Hope you're all great. Speak soon, yeah? Nice one. Whiskey! Drinking!